How y'all doing, everybody? This is Ray of RebelEars.com with another episode of the Rebel Ears podcast. Today's episode is a quick recap of last week. A few things happened. Tuesday was July 4th. That day, I traveled to 4 different studios, got in touch with 2 studio owners. I posted about Kaylee. Shout out to her. I was talking about how Kaylee is an amazing engineer. Steve Hibiki, you know who she is. She used to be Seth Firkins' assistant engineer. Seth Firkins was Future's engineer, but he passed away a couple years ago. Rest in peace. Never got a chance to meet him, but Steve talks highly of him. Some tweet posts about mixing is a crucial part of live sound as well. The mixer is responsible for balancing the sound of the band so that it sounds good in the venue. So when you go to a big concert, you're going to see, like, if the stage is right in front of you, in the middle of the crowd, you're going to see like equipment that is front of house. They control and balance the sounds of, okay, the artist is walking to the right, so we're going to pan the sound to the right, pan it to the left, depending on where they're going. And it works that way, especially if you're trying to do effects to just make the performance more engaging. So, that depends. I also talked about buying merchandise from friends. Shout out to Henry with the 3. Shout out to Ben of One More Time podcast. They're dope. They got so many interviews with amazing people, artists, engineers, producers. It's just a lot that they got going on. They had an event called One More Time event where they had a lot of connects, a lot of artists, and a lot of people in the industry there. And I was only there for like 15 minutes, and I told them that I was just going to come in there, buy a shirt, and that was it. But it was the engagement of that was posted. Another post, the rise of streaming has had a big impact on mixing. Engineers now have to consider how their mix will sound on different platforms and devices. So now I'm trying to do more research on Dolby Atmos because now that is the standard when it comes to like a lot of mixes, getting a surround sound. If you got Apple Music or Spotify or Tidal, you'll see a lot of people are starting to get into the aspect of Dolby Atmos, and I'm trying to do more research, like I said. And then another post was about the pressure of a crowd. This is when I was talking about when I was a hype man for an artist going on tour with Tech Nine, had his Hostile Takeover tour, and MGK was on that. Now, this is something I'm going to show for this episode of the podcast. I had this for over 10 years, actually, so this is when MGK was on tour with Tech Nine. MGK Half Naked and Almost Famous soundtrack. EP available online and in stores now. You can see, when Wild Boy came out, See My Tears, Warning Shots. Now, look at these dates. This is crazy. This was basically the Hostile Takeover tour. This was over, what is this? I think it was 99 shows. It was literally 99 shows. And it was June 21st, we went to the Tremont Music Hall in North Carolina, Charlotte. And I remember we spent a night at one of his connects' house, Tom P. Shout out to him. It was fun. June 23rd, we went to the Masquerade in Atlanta, Georgia. The Masquerade is not open anymore, but it was fun. They had 3 levels, Purgatory, Hell, and Heaven. The tour was performed on Heaven, and then June 28th, we was in Jacksonville, Florida at Plush. Now, I want to tell MGK's drummer, Rook, shout out to him. He probably don't remember this, but this was during the Hostile Takeover tour. I remember Plush in Florida. It was before we was going to perform because I already met him twice, and I met MGK's hype man too. And, his camp is really cool people. I remember I saw the drummer the first time in North Carolina, and then I saw him in Atlanta. So the last time I saw him was in Florida, and there was a McDonald's right up the street from the venue, and we was waiting for sound check, and I know they was going to feed us around that time, but, we looked at each other. We was like, you trying to watch a McDonald's? And I said, yeah. And, just little engagement like that, it strikes something as like good memory because I remember we would just talking about the experience of life and, doing music and then the people we connect with because, that one interaction could be a lifelong memory. And I remember us just, walking, and he's very humble. He's very cool too, especially at the level of performances. If you follow him on Instagram or social media, you see that, him and MGK been working over 10 years and he deserves his title. But when we got to McDonald's, I forgot what I ordered and I forgot what he ordered, but just the fact that he was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay for it. And I don't know if it's the gift of gab or I'm just good at talking to people, but it was just the aspect that he didn't have to, he just chose to, and that left a good mark on how I think of MGK's drummer Rook. So shout out to him for that. And then the last post of the week was mixing is not just about making the music sound good, it's also about creating an emotional connection with the listener. So that's very big. You want to make sure you grab the listener. And the way to do that is make the track emotionally pleasing. The way to do that is sitting down with the artist, seeing what they trying to come out, what they trying to create. If you're the executive producer, your job is to create the emotional aspect of the field that you're working in. You got to be with the artist saying, this is not going to work. You need to put this here. You know what? This hook, you probably got to do it in this tone. Maybe you need to add this, put a little harmony. Oh, you might need to take this out, put this in. And at times it can get tiring, but it shows you how much dedication they put in these tracks, especially the ones that are amazing. Now, one thing I do want to promote in the near future, like I already said in one of our podcasts, the Cookout Studios, Bandwidth Studios, and Castle Hill Studios, they got copies of my ebook and YL ebook, but this is mine right here. So 10 quick tips to be a successful audio engineer. These are the physical copies. You can actually go to rebelears.com and download the ebook itself. But with the ebook, there's two of them. There's one from me and one from YL. Shout out to him. And then also, when you go to the website, you can download our free stock mix template, and that'll improve your mixes tenfold, I promise you, because it's organized. Everything is labeled and color coded from the verse, hooks, ad libs, reverb, delay. Everything is color coded, like I said. It's organized all the way to the instrument, drums, vocals, submaster to the master, because we want to make sure that everything is organized correctly for y'all to make your sessions a whole lot easier. And I also want to take this time to just talk to the person who's watching this episode, just letting them know as you're listening to this, you should always figure out what's the next step. When I was reading Tim S. Grover book Relentless, he was Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade's personal trainer, but the last three words of the book was done. What's next? And I know exactly where I'm at. I am not done with expanding, connecting, growing, especially when it comes to Rebel Ears, because YL and I had a good discussion today. The post actually that I put out, was it today? Got 2,300 views within 24 hours. And I think I might have an algorithm together on how to expand and how to build. But it's about consistency. Just like right now, I'm recording. It's past midnight, and I'm doing the content for the next 2 weeks, because the way to get engagement is to put out as much as you can, because no one is satisfied until they get to the end of the scroll on Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're using. But it's a never-ending scroll, and you'll never get to the bottom. That's why we made all this content for engineers, people who need help with self-development, and people who need help with leadership, because being a freelance engineer, you have to have all three. You need to know how to mix and master. Well, you need to know how to record and mix. You need to have, a firm grasp of yourself when it comes to leadership, because, as a freelance, you're working for yourself. And then self-development. What can help you to take your profession or career to the next level? There's ways to do it. There's ways to improve. And even myself, I'm still trying to improve. My business partner is trying to improve. We are taking the steps that's needed to do that. While I end this episode, as you can see, I'm holding my 5-star Dragon Ball that I got from the trip to Paris with my wife and family. But it was one of those moments that made me see exactly what I'm striving for and what I'm going to get to. I'm getting there. But I just want to tell everybody thank you for watching this quick cast episode on the Rebel Ears podcast. Telling everybody keep watching, keep listening, keep tuning in.